Hey, welcome to Wake Up and Dream Season 2.
It's official.
Yoo-hoo!
It's official.
We're
Finally,
here. We made
Oh,
it.
it's so exciting.
2023.
We're going to rock this year and we're going to rock it with you. When we thought about what season 2 was like, it was all about our listeners. It was all about how can we serve you? How can we support you? How can we empower you and give you what you need to live a life where you literally wake up in the morning and are so excited to pursue and conquer and move in the direction of the dreams that light you up. So, this month we're going to talk about, because it's January, right? Maybe you set a New Year's resolution. I don't know. We don't really groove on New Year's resolutions because they're probably, in my mind, they're like laden in guilt, right? You're already feeling guilty that you have to have that as your resolution, right? So from the beginning, it starts out with that kind of low negative vibration. We're talking about vision. We're talking about goals that fuel an abundant life vision. And today we're going to dive in because maybe you're thinking, what is she even talking about? My goal, I'll just be honest. Before when I started my direct sales business, I was like, oh, they're telling me I need to have a big dream. I need to have a vision board. I need to do all that. And my answer to when people would say that, I'm like, my big goal, seriously, is I wake up and I'm like, okay, what am I going to make for supper? And if I got supper on the table and my family fed, I felt like I had conquered my dream. And then I went to bed satisfied, all to do the same dream the next day, right? It was so short sighted. It was so short sighted. And direct sales started the process of me thinking, well, what do I want? Because here's the thing, what I discovered is that it's hard for me to think bigger if I don't have a little bit of the plan or the money, right? The money always stopped me. How can I think about, this dream house or this, house on the lake or family vacations when I'm stuck in the mundane paycheck to paycheck? How can I do this? And so part of it is thinking bigger and taking risks. And this is what we are all about and want to help you so that it's not as scary to take those risks. So I want to start out. We are big here with quotes, and I really believe that we're going to touch on two things here in the next minutes. And the first is, how aware are you of what you want? Because when it comes down to it, you need to know what you want, right? If you're going to go after that big dream, you actually have to know what it is. And oftentimes, because we get so bogged down in the tasks and the to-dos and the demands put on us as moms, wives, employees, you name it, we don't even give ourselves a space to become aware and ask the question. So first off, I want to give you permission today to ask the question. And here's the question: what do I want my life to look like? What do I want? Now, this question isn't what do I think I should want? That's not the question, right? Because we all go there. It's not what does my husband want, so I should think I should want that. Or what do my kids expect me to want? No, we're talking you. We're talking you. We're talking, what do you really want? And honestly, that is the question we're gonna encourage you to sit with it. Take time in the morning and write that at the top of your journal. What do I really want? And start letting your mind create without hindrance. Don't let your head get in the way, but literally just let the ideas flow. Even if you think your head thinks they're utterly ridiculous, would never happen, but it's a desire, right? Your wants are your desires, and they live down here in your heart. So, becoming aware of what you want is the first step. And we've got some tools for us to think about. But I want you to listen to this because I have two quotes. The first one is Debbie Ford defined awareness because we need to become aware of what we want and aware of what our life is now and what we want it to be in that vision. So Debbie says the awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without attachment to it being right or wrong. And we're going to talk a lot about being that compassionate scientist that just observes without judgment because women, I'm telling you, we are the worst at judging and being critical of ourself, right? So the wheel of life. Yes, the wheel of life. I almost called it the circle of life. I caught myself. The wheel of life is a tool that we're going to post inside our Facebook group. So in the show notes, you're going to want to join our free Facebook group. Let me give that plug right now because this is where we're going to take this conversation and expand on it and go deeper. And you're going to get to have conversations about it and ask questions so that we can help you even more. That's our goal. So the wheel of life is a tool, and I'm just gonna talk about it now, but we're gonna actually do it and go into more detail in our Facebook group. So and you can find our Facebook group at Wake Up and Dream. Just search it in Facebook in the groups, and you will find us. Okay. So here's the deal. You have all areas of our life. We are complex beings. We can't just show up at work and think that we're going to, be a superstar if over here we're feeling depleted and discouraged and exhausted. So this wheel of life allows us to take a non-judgmental, right? You're kind of a third person, just you're not going, "Oh my gosh, I feel terrible about this." You're just doing an assessment in areas of your life and you're going to give yourself a number. 1 being this is like I'm barely hanging on. I'm like hanging on by a thread. Or 10, I'm killing it. This area of my life. And we're going to have every number in the spectrum. Some are going to be higher than others. And that's normal, right? We're not all going to have all tens at all times. That's not realistic. So here are the areas. And I want you to just think about these areas when it comes to your life and give yourself a rate. Where are you right now if you had to take a snapshot and give a number to it? Family and friends. How are you feeling about the climate of your relationships with your kids, um, your husband, your friends? Are you wanting more, or is it balanced? How about your health? That's another area. Are you are you putting that as a priority? Is it something that you want to improve? Are you feeling like you're taking time out of your day because that's really what you're analyzing. How much of your day is balanced with that focus of health? What about finances? Are you feeling like you're killing it? saving, spending, planning for vacations? Or is this an area where you're like, I could use some help here. I need to, spend more time focusing on that. What about your business or your career? That could be your job. That could be if you're an entrepreneur or a coach or your side gigs. How are you feeling about that? How much time do you allot for that? How about your physical environment? Maybe your home or maybe your work environment needs some focus. What would you give that rating? And here's one that I think I need some clear focus on, and it is fun and recreation. We as moms, do we plan fun into our week, into our day? Um, Recreation, things that have no, purpose per se on the to-do list, but they're just bring us enjoyment. Where do you rate yourself on that? Last two things are personal growth. Are you spending time growing? What books are you reading? Are you doing podcasts? Do you have time in your week where you're diving in and reflecting and doing that personal growth? And then the last one is romance. That could be obviously with your husband, and it could get in that family and friends category, or it might be a significant other, or it might be, honestly, it might be just how are you loving yourself? Self-care could fit right in there as well. So that's the wheel of life, and that allows us to have a snapshot. We need a starting point to know the awareness of where we are so that we can make goals and intentions and move in the direction of the number that we desire. Because the other half of this exercise is to, once you know your number, and we're going to talk more here in just a second, once you know your number, then what does a 10 look like? And this is what we're going to encourage you to share in our Facebook group is what is that vision of a 10 for your health? What are you doing? How you're looking in the mirror? What's going through your mind? You're going to journal all of that so that you can create a vision of where you're going. And that awareness piece is so, so key. So, gals, what came up for you as you were talking about this? Because we're going to have people in our Facebook group on this podcast that are like, yeah, but what about this? Or, I'm struggling here.
So I think this is absolutely incredible, Lisa. I love starting at the beginning. I feel like that's where this year is going to really start to explode for all of us, is just understanding what we need to become aware of. I always, in the past, set goals and resolutions and all, how does your life look? Rate it from 1 to 10. But there's so many little pieces that I had never broken down, like family and friends, finances, fun and recreation. I love adding that one in there, your personal growth, really looking at each section of your life and really how you're living it. Because I think either we're always beating ourselves up because we eat unhealthy, but yet I'm excelling in my career and we feel really good, but we're not
balanced.
we're not balanced with how we're feeling, and we're putting a lot of effort and energy into one space where we actually maybe need to be over here in another zone. And I think this is, like I mentioned in the beginning, this is such a great starting point for all of us to really, replay this podcast and this episode to go back and what were the categories, truly write them down and journal, and how you really, really feel about each of them. And I think that would just give each of us a great start to the new year and to really have this new vision for our goals. So I think it's incredible. Sarah, what did you pick up out of this one?
So I have some questions, Lisa. on this.
Oh, I knew you were going to put my feet to the fire, just like
So
always.
I know. You can always count on me. So
Right?
my question really is, what if somebody goes through this exercise and ranks himself eights? Like eight's not so bad, pretty much across the board. Like, I'm going through and I'm listening and I'm like, I could maybe use a little bit. Maybe I'm a 7 here, an 8 here. But what if there's not that glaring section in this person's own self-reflection of these categories? What if there's not that glaring need to improve in one area? Like, what would you suggest they do to try to really hash that out, or just, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So so I think that's a really interesting question because I think um sometimes I think there's two angles I'm gonna go with. The first is congrats. Like if you have a balanced life and you're like all in the seven and eights, I want to like lean in because you've done a ton of work to create that balanced life and you should like celebrate and congratulate yourself, um, because that's a rarity. Like, and um if there is that, wow, but oftentimes here's the other angle. Oftentimes this is not a practice we're used to. We are not used to getting honest with ourselves. It's like we think our life may be better than it really is in some ways, right? I'm the eternal optimist. I'll just like call it like it is. And I see things through the lens of hope. And so I can color things to a fault, thinking that they're better than they really are. And so at the other end of the spectrum is, oh my gosh, I'm terrible, I'm awful, and being too hard on yourself. That there's people in that camp as well, right? And probably a lot of people in that camp that are like, oh my gosh, health has been something I've struggled with all my life and I'm never going to get there. And I don't even, two, it's way down here, so I think there is that, but I would really encourage that person to do some reflecting, to, you know the numbers are one thing, but maybe to go deeper on why you think you're an 8. Like, what is it about that 8? Because my guess is that when you kind of do a fine tooth comb analysis of those, the numbers are going to spread. Like, they're not all going to be 7s and 8s. They're, if I'm really honest, that's probably a 5. Kelly, what do you
Well, and
think?
that's what I love about this like wheel of life, because you might think it's an 8, one, because that's your paradigm, because that's how you're seeing it and
Yep.
feeling it. But what is super like amazing about this process
Mhm.
is this second part, and you kind of like touched on it a little bit. We might be that 7 and 8, but what would a 10 look like? What
Yeah.
would you change? What would you
True.
add? Like, that's the whole point of life, is to become, just better and more full and give
Yes.
back to the community. Like, what if your health is absolutely insane? Can you teach someone else how to do the same? Are you giving back? Like, how maybe you
Yeah.
are an amazing parent and you have all the things like going, and you know how to jump every hurdle. Oh my gosh, share that with the world and open up. So it's like, you might think you're an 8, you might think you're a 2, but this dreaming part and this awareness then that you're going to take us to, Lisa, in this next level of thinking about the 10. What
Right.
could that really look like? Because this 8 could just be this thing that you've been thinking about your whole life. And yep, I got married, I have 3 kids, and I have this career that I went to college for, and I get meals on the table every night, and I am content. And for
Mhm.
you, that's an 8.
Mhm.
What if? What if it could
That is
be even
so
grander?
True. You know, and I think oftentimes this awareness piece is that we just get stuck on the hamster wheel. We get stuck and we're making enough money, or, our kids are doing fine in school, and, things seem to be going really well. And should I be like sad about that? Should I be dissatisfied? There's a place for just being thankful, because one, in the throes of life, that perfect 8 across the board probably isn't going to be sustainable, right? I mean, boom, the kids have this issue, or you have this, like, we're humans. But I think, to your point, Kelly, I think we almost think, if our lives are an 8, that we should be grateful for one, we should be satisfied, and we should just keep going, right? At the 8. And to your point, what if there's more? What if there is more out there, whether that be in what you alluded to, like sharing your wisdom with others, or helping someone else with that same area that you feel, strong in. But also, it could be, I mean, I hesitate to say selfish, because it's not selfish, but it could be like, what do I want, right? I mean, that 8 life might not include what your personal desires at your core self. Like, I want to write a book. I want to be a speaker on a stage. I got little people right now, but my vision is, that's where I see myself. Like, that's the kind of stuff that lights people up, because it may not be possible this year, this month, but the vision of where you want to go and your personal desires. I don't think that our culture teaches it. I don't think that we acknowledge or give it a voice, because we're too busy just making sure that all of our family's lives are innate, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Because I think that's that woman and motherly intuition, is to just make sure everybody else is okay. And if they're okay, then I'm okay.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily like full truth for you. And it's just stepping into what could be, like, to start waking up and dreaming again, and being empowered with those tools to make something happen, whether it's as little as starting a Bible study group, or writing a book, or trying a family game night. Like, do y'all do that? Like, just little
Right.
things that can excite you as a woman, I think, is so key for 2023. Like, this is going to be so great.
Definitely, definitely. I'm going to end but one little quote here, because I think it kind of summarizes what we're hoping to achieve here. So this quote is by Victoria Erickson, and listen to it closely. Life is passing rapidly. Fiercely commit to every moment you find beautiful, and remember it. Record it. Fully, wholeheartedly inhabit it. This is living in the moment. And the quote goes on: awareness is one of the greatest things that you can possess in your life, as it is as important as the very air we breathe and the water we drink to stay alive. And I really think this whole month we're just going to be talking about heightening our awareness, setting goals, thinking about what we really, really want our life to look like. And I'm so, so excited about this. Woo! Episode 1 in the books of season 2. I can't believe it. You girls are
I'm
awesome.
so excited. This is so great. This is
I'm
so
so
great.
excited, and I'm so excited to continue the conversation on Facebook, because I feel like I have a lot of thinking to do and reflecting, and I obviously will be sharing with all our listeners in the Facebook group too as I go through this exercise.
I think it's so great, you guys. This is so, so fun and inspiring, even I think for the three of us to chat back and forth and start dreaming again ourselves for 2023 and what that looks like, and really diving in to these different layers and being honest with ourselves in what our life really looks like. And don't fret, you guys, if you're listening and you did write down a 2 or a 3 or a 4, that's what we're here for. That's what these next few months, honestly, is going to be about. We're going to just take you on this journey to really dive deep into your soul, into your heart, into your desires, to want more, to be more, and to wake up and dream. So until next time, have a wonderful day. Wake up and dream.